Anyone who thinks that this race is not personal wasn't watching tonight. This was a debate of moments, Anderson. It began when Barack Obama said that he was helping people on the streets of Chicago who had lost their jobs overseas while she was on the corporate board of Walmart. Not that much time later, she said, well, listen, I was arguing against Ronald Reagan's policies while you were representing a slumlord in Chicago. It went on from there. There were other moments. At one point, Barack Obama said something about President Clinton not representing Barack Obama's record correctly, and he said, sometimes I feel like I'm running against the two of you. In between this was John Edwards sort of counter-programming, if you will, saying, well, wait a minute, how does all of this actually give children health care? How does it get them a better education? Even when they got to the issues, Anderson, I thought health care was sort of a perfect time for them because they did talk about what their proposals were, sort of a gang up from John Edwards and Hillary Clinton about Barack Obama's proposal, because it is not a mandatory health insurance proposal. So there was a good back and forth there, but there was always this kind of simmering hostility which has come to really typify what's going on in this campaign.
Our voters were black, white, male, female, young and old, from all walks of life, with two things in common. Before tonight's debate, none had settled on a candidate, and the economy is a top concern.
I think the candidates have to show me that they know what they're talking about, as well as what's going on with the economy, what's going on in the world, and the values.
You know, the value of the dollar's been dropping, and you know, it's gasoline's almost $3 a gallon.
But did any of the candidates' plans have an effect? Passion paid off when Hillary Clinton hit the president's economic policies. The dials jumped.
But the president's proposed stimulus package is not adequate. It is too little, too late.
What didn't pay off were attacks and even aggressive defense.
When Senator Clinton said, or President Clinton says that I wasn't opposed to the war from the start, or says it's a fairy tale that I opposed the war, that is simply not true.
And when they started interrupting each other?
Is patent. Wait, no, Hillary, you just spoke. You just spoke for 2 minutes. So these are the kinds of political games that we are accustomed to. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute.
That may have played well in the debate hall, but it left our voters cold and left an opening for John Edwards to grab his best reaction.
This kind of squabbling, how many children is this going to get health care?
The exception to that attack and suffer rule, Edwards again, when he went after Obama's voting record, and the dials actually went up.
What I didn't hear was an explanation for why over 100 times you voted present instead of yes or no.
Clinton drew her highest response when she zeroed in on health care.
I am not giving in, I am not giving up, and I'm not going to start out leaving 15 million Americans out of health care.
And the biggest spike, a 20-point jump, when Obama told the audience the idea that race is a defining issue in South Carolina just doesn't match his experience.
I am absolutely convinced that white, black, Latino, Asian people want to move beyond our divisions.
Erica, did your undecided voters in the room say who they thought won?
Well, they did. The interesting thing is they actually thought that Senator Edwards won the debate, but half of them said, even given that, they would instead vote for Obama because they say if they're voting with their minds over their hearts, they think that Senator Obama has a better chance of winning the nomination, Anderson.
It's just 4 blocks from the White House, but that doesn't make Planned Parenthood Federation's Washington, D.C. clinic any more secure. It provides health, reproductive services, and abortions. And in today's America, that makes it a target.
There have been situations with health centers like ours where there have been bomb scares, actual bombs, and people dying as a result.
Just to get in here, you have to go through multiple layers of security. This door, for instance, is made of bulletproof glass, and you have to be buzzed in.
Okay, leave this here.
Okay.
Walk through and come around.
Thanks. 28-year-old Sarah Brooks used to work with Planned Parenthood. She's now with a nonprofit organization. In this presidential race, she says health and reproductive rights are her top issues. I mean, this is a big issue to you?
Yes, definitely. I think it's difficult for women in my generation to understand what life was like before Roe v. Wade. and I hope that we never have to learn the hard way.
Roe versus Wade is the landmark 1973 U.S. Supreme Court ruling that guaranteed a woman's right to abortion. The issue has been political dynamite ever since, debated in coded language with words like pro-life and pro-choice. More than half of all Americans think abortion should be legal in all or most cases, according to a Pew Research Center poll taken 2 months ago. But among Republican primary voters, almost two-thirds, 63%, believe abortion should be illegal in most cases. The Republican Party platform supports overturning Roe versus Wade, and that's creating some uncomfortable situations for Republicans like Mitt Romney, who've changed their positions.
I believe that abortion should be safe and legal in this country.
Because on abortion, I was wrong, and I changed my mind.
As New York Mayor Rudolph Giuliani supported public funding of abortion. Now he says he hates abortion and wants what he calls reasonable restrictions on it. Mike Huckabee believes if abortions were outlawed, doctors should be sanctioned, but not women because they're victims. Democrats, for the most part, support a woman's right to choose abortion and expanded access to family planning services. Jennifer Drake, a 24-year-old client of Planned Parenthood, says she's trying to convince her friends this election really matters.
You would be surprised at how many people don't feel like our rights are threatened, and I feel like, especially here in Washington, D.C., that it's happening right under our noses.
On the 35th anniversary of Roe versus Wade, Planned Parenthood's political arm is announcing a campaign for the November presidential election. Its goal, turning out 1 million voters who support abortion rights. Jill Dougherty, CNN, Washington.
Let me just get in here because there are a lot of polls showing that I'm beating them, higher than anybody else. I don't think, frankly, that has much to recommend at this far from an election. If John is right and Senator McCain is the Republican nominee, we know that once again we will have a general election about national security. That is what will happen. I believe of any one of us, I am better positioned and better able to take on John McCain or any Republican when it comes to issues about protecting and defending our country and promoting our interests in the world. And if it is indeed the classic Republican campaign, I've been there. I've done that. They've been after me for 16 years, and much to their dismay, I am still here. And I intend to be still here when that election comes around and we win in November 2008.
I just want to add that I don't think it's about polls either, Hillary, by the way. But I do think it is about fundamental differences between us and them. And this is a difference that you and I have. I think that John McCain has made central to his time in public life and his campaign finance reform and cleaning up the money in politics. And I think it's dangerous for us to send somebody against him who presents a contrast to what he represents. And I'm proud of the fact that I've never taken money from a Washington lobbyist or a special interest PAC. And I have a question that I'm interested in hearing you respond to. You've talked a lot about day one. I've committed, I don't know what Brock said about this, but I've committed not to have any corporate lobbyists working in my White House on the first day that I'm president. Will you make the same commitment?
Well, John, I will make a commitment to have people in the White House who are honest and trustworthy and put the interests of the United States first. But
is that a no?
You know what? I don't know because I'm not in favor of corporate lobbyists, but you keep drawing these artificial distinctions. You take money from people who employ lobbyists, who are married to lobbyists, who are the children of lobbyists. And, at some point, this gets really hard to take because if you are someone like I am who has withstood the full force of corporate lobbyists, starting with the health insurance companies and the drug companies and the oil companies and everybody that I've taken on for all of these years, I think I'm independent and tough enough to be able to deal with anybody, and that's what I intend to do.
Those people, though, here's the problem, Hillary. Everybody's listening. They can make their own judgment about this. They don't have to depend on us. When somebody gives you millions and millions of dollars, I think they expect something. I don't think they're doing it for nothing.
Well, John, the trial lawyers have given you millions and millions of dollars.
And what they expect from me is they expect me to stand up for democracy, for the right to jury trial, for the right for little people to be heard in the courtroom, and that is exactly what I stand up for. That is not the same thing. That is not the same thing as corporate lobbyists who are in there every single day lobbying against the interests of middle-class Americans. And I think we need a president who can stand up. We have a difference about this. You're entitled to your view, but we have a real difference about it.
No, we don't have a real difference. Where I stand is for public financing. I'm going to do everything I can to get public financing, to get the money out of American politics.